whether the team is performing clean or unsightly. We'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, here we are, week 15, the National Football League, and we have 18 players and counting on the COVID-19 /reserve list. That number continues to grow. The last time we spoke, it was at 11. It has now since climbed to 18. The latest victim claimed by the list, Troy Apke, a.k.a. Trap, which brings the number to 18. And just a week ago, this time a week ago, I was talking copious amounts of trash. I was talking about the prospects of this team not only winning this division, coming back and claiming what was rightfully ours. But should we fall short of that, we were going to not only make the playoffs, but maybe even catch the Los Angeles Rams. It was all doable just a week ago. How a week can change everything. Since that week, we've had 18 players hit the COVID-19 list. We've had a slew of injuries that leave us in quite the quandary. We really don't know where the hell this season is going to go. Many people have pretty much christened this season dead. I don't blame you. And yet, here we are, 6-7, still holding on to the 7 seed. We'll see what happens. What the events of today and yesterday and the day before that have caused me to do was it caused me to go to my garage, get my cleats, blow the dust off of them, shiny those bad boys up, see if I might have to lace them up and get out there on Sunday. They may need me. They may need you. And you. And you. And you. So everyone be ready, because I hope you don't think this is the last we've heard of the COVID-19 /reserve list being added to by this football team. I would be more shocked if this were the end. I surmise that there'll be 2 or 3 more people added tomorrow, and maybe another 2 or 3 added after that. And this thing could grow to as high as 25 or 30 before it's all said and done. I won't be confident in the group that we're sending onto the field on Sunday until we actually get to kickoff and they're actually playing. That will be the only time, because hell, I didn't think we were going to lose Casey Toohill. That didn't happen until the day of the Cowboys game, the morning of. We didn't find out about James Smith-Williams until the day before the game. So if you think we're out of the woods just yet, think again, because we could be starting Kyle Shermer at quarterback. Keep in mind, Kyle Allen is on the COVID-19 reserve list, and he is very close friends with Taylor Heineke. They share the same quarterback room. I find it hard to believe, with this thing transmitting as quickly as it is, that someone in that room can have COVID. It's a small room. I don't know if they're being separated or not. Last time I checked, they were being separated. You'd have guys, far apart, but again, you're still inside. It's still close contact. Find it hard to believe that Heineke somehow managed to test negative. Meanwhile, Kyle Allen tested positive. Now, again, they could not have had any interaction, because guys go away after the game on Sunday. And if you have to come in for treatment or something on Monday, you do, but you don't have to necessarily be around guys on Monday or Tuesday. But Wednesday, that's when you come back, and everybody has to be tested on Wednesday. So maybe, just maybe, they haven't had close contact with one another since the game on Sunday. I'm assuming Kyle Allen somehow in between the 48 to 72 hours between the game on Sunday and showing up on Wednesday and testing positive, contracted COVID in that window. But again, we know COVID can go dormant. It could be around for 5 to 6 days before you actually show a positive, which is why I don't think we're done with the positives. So there is nothing positive about this week leading up to the game. You can't even be sure who's going to suit up at this point. It is a farce. And I always provide you guys with a silver lining, right? When we got destroyed by the Cowboys, even though we only lost by 7, it felt like a destruction. I said the silver lining in that ass whooping that we took was that we played arguably one of the worst games offensively of the season. And we've had some stinkers this year. I don't know if there was a game offensively that we've been worse in the Cowboys game. They dominated us defensively. And yet we only lost by a touchdown. If you're looking for a silver lining in this COVID-19 cloud, this was a hard one to find, okay? But here it is. We have zero pressure on us this week, okay? The line went from about 3.5, 4 to like 7, 7.5, okay? Vegas has already all but said, you're going to lose this game. All the pundits around the NFL universe probably thought we were going to lose the game before we played anyway. They think we're going to lose. Eagles fans are probably counting this one as a dub, and they should, okay? No one is thinking that we're going to win this game. There is zero, and I mean zero pressure on this football team to go out and perform and win a game. Zero pressure. If they win, great. Awesome job, guys. So improbable. Never would have thought this would have happened in a million years. How did you manage to do this? If they lose, that's what everybody expected to happen. So we're kind of in this whole frame of mind of, hey, what do we got to lose? Let's just go out there and see what happens. That's the silver lining, is that all the pressure lies on the Philadelphia Eagles. Why? Because they're supposed to win this game. And if they don't win this game, first of all, if they win, they're not going to get a ton of credit from anybody. No, I don't give a shit. If I were the Eagles and I was an Eagles fan, I don't give a shit. If I were a Washington fan and the Eagles were going through this, I would be like, hell yeah, get the number up to 25, get it up to 30. I want to kick their ass on Sunday, and I'm not going to feel bad about doing it. However, we are the team that it's actually happening to. And so I would be feeling that way, but I also would be nervous as hell because you're in a lose-lose situation if you're the Eagles. Obviously, you can win, and that's the only thing that matters is if you win. But if you win the game, nobody's going to want to give you credit for it. But you could throw this win right in the same bin with the Lions win, with the Jets win. Nobody's respecting the Eagles for this, right? But if they lose, oh, you're the worst team in the league. How could you possibly lose to a Washington football team that has 20 players? Let's be exact. I don't want to speak 20 into existence. Who has 18 players on the COVID-19 reserve list, and all of their defensive line is wiped out. They got guys off the street coming in. Nate Orchard was on the Green Bay Packers practice squad. He's starting at defensive end. Okay? Daniel Wise, 3 weeks ago, was on the practice squad. He's starting at defensive tackle. He started at defensive end last week. These are you're one bad snap away from Kyle Shermer being in the game at quarterback. One. This is a quarterback last week that couldn't finish the game, and you're one snap away from Kyle Shermer being your quarterback. There's no Terry McLaurin, more likely than not. Still don't know if J.D. McKissic's going to be ready for this game. No Cam Sims. to add to the mix. Yeah, shit's getting pretty dicey around here. So if the Eagles don't win this game, what does it say about them? And that's the pressure that they're going to have to bear going into the game on Sunday. They're at home, they're heavy favorites, and Washington is as depleted as any team has been at any point this season for any given game this season. They've got all the pressure on them. They got to win this game. And if they don't, this is the kind of game that breaks their season and makes our season. So that's the silver lining, is that we got nothing to lose. We got a bunch of guys that we just pulled off the practice squad or pulled off of somebody else's practice squad or pulled off the street. And we're going to throw out there. We're going to go with this next man up mentality. Again, how long can next man up work when the next man up is some Joe Schmo you pulled off of your or someone else's practice squad? You run out of next man up mentality after a while. The depth actually runs out after a while. But stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. I watch this team, and I always like to reference this when it makes sense. This is as close of a comparison as you're going to get. When we went to Seattle back in 2017, had no business beating the Seahawks. We had guys that literally showed up on Saturday and started on Sunday on the offensive line. And I'm exaggerating, but literally guys got here 2 days prior and had to start. There were players in the huddle that didn't even know some of the offensive linemen's names because they just got there. And we somehow played the defensive game of that season and found a way to make one or two plays when they had to be made. Brian Quick with the over-the-shoulder catch as he gets plastered and gets a concussion, but somehow holds on. Josh Doxson makes the best catch of his Washington career, how brief it was, but that was the one catch in his career we all remember, diving down to the Seattle Seahawks 1-yard line before Kirk takes it in on a quarterback sneak, and we somehow survived the Seattle Seahawks and won that football game. This feels like that, like you're going on a kamikaze mission, and there is no way in hell you're coming out of this thing alive. We'll see. All we can do is line up who we have and play the game. Now, that's the problem right now, is we don't know who we're going to be lining up, who's going to be eligible, who's not going to be eligible. Let me say this, and then we'll move on. The next few days are going to be interesting because, one, I want to see the COVID bleeding stop. We haven't had that happen yet. 5 straight days, we've had at least one person be added to the COVID-19 /reserve list. 5 consecutive days, starting with Saturday and James Smith-Williams, and Sunday, Casey Toohill, and then all the guys that were added Monday, and all the guys that were added Tuesday, and then we had 8 more added today. So we've had 5 straight days of positive tests. We need to see the bleeding stop first. So it'd be nice tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday to hear nothing on the COVID front. Quiet, crickets, nothing. That would be the first order of business, is to stop the COVID bleeding. Then the next order of business is to see, can we get some of these guys back? Can we get Montez Sweat back? Can he have 2 straight negative tests and be back for Sunday's game? Can Terry McLaurin somehow miraculously heal? First of all, the fact that Terry was even visible at practice on the side field with the trainers, that is a revelation to me. Remember, I said the same thing about Jamin Davis. I said, wait a minute, Jamin Davis was out there. Now, he didn't practice that day, but he was on the side field with trainers. That's a revelation, because generally when a guy has a concussion, he's not even outside. Like J.D. McKissick, for instance. He wasn't at practice today. He wasn't at practice the week before that. And so he didn't play against Vegas. He actually practiced last week, still didn't play on Sunday. So again, we don't know the severity of Terry's concussion. I can only assume. It obviously wasn't as bad as JD's, because JD had to be carted off the field. Okay. Terry was able to get up and walk off the field, but it's still a concussion. Okay. So I'm assuming Terry isn't going to play this week. So you could get Terry back. I was wrong about J.D. McKissic. I thought he was going to play last week. He didn't. So you could get Montez Sweat back. You could get Terry back. A couple of these guys could be false positives, highly unlikely. A couple of these guys could test negative a couple of days in a row if they're vaccinated. And I think there are some names on that list that are vaccinated. And so you test negative a couple of days in a row, you're back on the roster. We could get some of these guys back. We just got Sam Cosmi back off of the injury reserve list. He's going to be available for the game on Sunday. He may be able to start. We may have to start John Toth at center. He took first team reps today. I mean, this is where we are. We're on our fifth center. If John Toth has to start, we will be starting our fifth center of the season. Are you effing kidding me? That's where we are. Anyway, I said all of that to say this. Get your cleats, lace them up, and get into some kind of cardiovascular shape. Your number may be called this weekend. Just be on standby. So we transition to our next segment in other news, and we're going to take a look at the injury report for both teams. Honestly, we don't even have to look at the Eagles' injury report. It's irrelevant. They're coming off of a bye week. Just like Dallas, they're going to probably be as healthy as they've been since like week 2 or 3 of the season. This is what has happened to us. We're getting everybody coming off of a 10-day hiatus, mini buys and full bye weeks. And it's one thing for a team to be coming off of a bye week, which it happens throughout the course of the season. Everyone's going to get a team more likely than not coming off of a bye week. It is what it is. I don't give a shit about that. I'm more concerned with our situation. The Eagles could have had every single player on their team healthy, and we just be dealing with our normal injuries, and I'd still be confident that we were going to take it to them. But now you add in this COVID stuff. Now you add in the injuries that we had against Dallas and some of the injuries that were pre-existing before the Cowboys game that haven't healed up. And now you add into the fact the Eagles are getting healthy. It really makes this a damn near impossible mission on Sunday. But it is not mission impossible, but it feels that way. Let's take a look at both teams' injury report from practice. We start with Washington, and Troy Apke, you can take him off this list. That illness isn't just an illness, it's COVID-19. So he's not on this list any longer. Keith Ishmael, however, is technically still just out with illness. That could convert to COVID tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't really know. So that's something to keep an eye on. Jordan K, hamstring. He was on the side field yesterday or today. I'm not holding my breath. Anytime you hear about a hamstring, you know that's usually problematic. Tyler Larson, Achilles. We already know his season's done. So I don't even know why he's on this list. Honestly speaking, he's done for the season. So J.D. McKissic, concussion. Obviously, that's a big deal. Hasn't played the last 2 weeks. We thought we were getting him back last week. He was a late scratch. So practiced just about all, every day last week. It was limited, but he practiced, so it led me believe, I can't speak for anyone out there, led me to believe he was going to play. He didn't. So obviously that concussion is still lingering for J.D. McKissic. He wasn't even out on the field today, which is not a good sign, even though I told you Wednesday, if you're going to miss a day, that's the day to miss. Not looking good for JD, nor is it looking good for Terry McLaurin. Now, again, I'm a little bit more positive and upbeat about Terry because he was on the field, the practice, the side field, but on the field nonetheless. Again, generally when guys have concussions or some kind of injury that is too severe for them to even be outside, then you know that guy's probably not going to play. Terry was outside. So that means he doesn't have sensitivity to light or anything like that. Maybe the symptoms aren't as significant. Maybe there's an outside chance that Terry can play. Curtis Samuel. This was the one that really did it for me, and you remember I was banging on the just put Curtis Samuel on IR drum. I was banging that drum pretty significantly, 3 weeks ago or so. I'm banging that drum again. Just put the man on IR and just put us out of our misery. I mean, Jesus, this guy, and I'm going to cut him a break because the groin, hamstring, hip, all of that stuff, it's synced up with one another. So if you injure one, you're more likely to injure the other. One being weakened weakens the other aspects that are attached to it. And so, again, if you injure your groin, which he's had an injured groin, then you're more likely to injure your hip, or you're more likely to pull a hamstring, because it's all working in unison with one another. And when you hurt one, you then overwork something else to overcompensate for the injury. So I'm shocked that the hamstring didn't bother him sooner. Honestly, I remember last year in the playoffs, Anthony Davis had a groin, and he tried to play through it in that first round playoff series against the Suns, and then he injured his hamstring. They all work together. It's not a surprise that his hammy went out on him. He's not playing this week, and at this point, just put the man on IR. He's not even doing anything anyway. Just put him on IR, and let's see what he can do next year. Anyway, Cole Holcomb, ankle. Didn't know anything about it, but he was limited. Feel good about him playing. Brandon Sheriff, ankle. Feel good about him playing, limited. And Taylor Heineke, right elbow. We knew the elbow. We knew about the knee. We knew both were ailments that really hampered him the back end of the game against Dallas. There were a couple of throws where you go, whoa, what the hell was that? And it was the elbow. That's the thing that's giving him the most problems. If you listen to Taylor Heineke, he said, look, the knee, thank God, it's intact. Everything's fine. Just got, hit on it and it bruised up a little bit, but I'm fine. The elbow was the thing that was really causing me the issues. He said, it was sore. It was bruised. But he said he didn't feel any discomfort at practice today throwing the football. So, again, I'm going to take the Ron Rivera approach. Want to see how he feels tomorrow. If he feels good tomorrow and he can follow up today's practice with another full day of practice, that gives me confidence that he might, just might. Now, we're still not out of the COVID woods yet. Knock on wood. Might be out there on Sunday. God forbid we got to trot out, Kyle Shermer. Lord have mercy on us all. So it's not looking good, gang. That's what this injury report pretty much says, that it's not looking too good for the good guys. We switch over to the Eagles, and what do you know? Look at that. Everybody practiced today. Wouldn't you know? Go figure. They didn't play a game last week. They've had 2 weeks to rest. Yeah, everybody practiced today. There's nothing to see here. All of these guys are going to play, more likely than not, including their quarterback who had an ankle injury. They're all going to be waiting and ready for us come 1:05 on Sunday afternoon at the Link, and that sucks. That really does suck. So, so we heard from Rivera, we heard from Brandon Sheriff, and we heard from Taylor Heineke today after practice. Ron's like, look, I don't know what you guys want me to say. I don't know what to do. I've never been through a situation like this. This is crazy. But all we can do, next man up, all we can do is go with the guys that we have, and we'll see what happens. So, I mean, what else did you expect Ron to say? That's pretty much what I thought he was going to say, word for word. Like, I mean, it is what it is. What are we going to do? He said the one thing he did say was we didn't expect this to happen. And we didn't expect this variant to be, because he thinks it's the Omicron. And I think most of us think it is, because it's spreading so quickly and it's affecting people that were vaccinated. Ron's like, most of the dudes that got it, they were vaccinated already. So they're not showing any ill effects of it, which is another sign that it may be the variant, because everyone's asymptomatic, essentially. No one's feeling like garbage or losing taste or sense of smell or anything. Everyone's like, yo, I feel fine. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is he's like, yeah, we weren't expecting this. So, we just got to make do with what we have. And he said, I haven't heard anything from the NFL about postponing the game, or he's like, we're moving forward as if this game is going to be played on Sunday, and it's going to be played on Sunday. The NFL has no, they said before the season started, they weren't looking to reschedule any games. All right. So they're not rescheduling Cleveland and the Raiders game. That's on Saturday. And the Browns have just as many players out as we do, if not more. And they're not rescheduling for the Browns, and they're a day before us. So if they're not going to give the Browns the benefit of the doubt, they're definitely not giving us the benefit of the doubt. So Ron's like, yo, we're just going to go forward as if we're playing on Sunday, and nothing's been told to us. So the assumption is we're playing on Sunday. We're playing on Sunday, guys. So you don't worry about whether they're going to postpone the game or try to, find a way to, like they did last year, to accommodate teams that they're struggling with. No, they're not doing that this year. Everybody's going to play their game where it's set up. And so we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse from a COVID standpoint, but yeah, we're in a tough spot. Brandon Sheriff said, look, man, it's next man up. He said, look, I even had to take snaps at center at practice today. That's how bad it's getting. He said, I hope I don't have to take snaps at center, because that would mean someone went down, and we're already in a pretty rough spot as is. So when you're on your fifth string center, your all-pro guard has to start taking snaps at center. It's really, really bad right now. And then, Taylor Heineke said, yeah, look, knee's fine. Elbow was giving me the problems, able to practice today without any pain. So feeling good. I think I'll be ready for Sunday. That's music to our ears, because at least when Kyle Allen was available, you're like, hey, if anything were to happen to Taylor or he can't go, still feel confident that 8 can get us through the game and we can have a chance to win. If anything, look, this is going to have to be an offensive line run game type of affair. But we'll get to that later in the week. But we cannot let Heineke get hit the way that he got hit last week. He has to finish this game. Has to. Or we stand no chance. Zero. We already are with our backs against the wall, and the percentage chance we win this game is already less than 20, okay? You're probably staring at like 13% chance of winning this game. You take Taylor Heineke out of the mix, and that chance shrinks to pretty much 0.0001. We have to keep him upright. But that's another discussion and story for another day. So this is where we are. We've got Jordan Ta'amu back on the roster. That's where we are right now. Kyle Shermer's quarterback 2, and Jordan Ta'amu is QB3. That's where we are right now. Hercules Mataafa is depth on the defensive line. That's where we are right now. Hercules just got here 2 days ago. He may have to play serious, meaningful snaps. Let's get to the comment section. Yikes. Man. See what we got. Chilled Dude. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Chilled Dude, thank you for being a member of the MOBB Rights. Holy Louie, we got it bad. Let's hope for negative tests. I mean, at this point, first of all, like I said, number one priority is to stop the COVID bleeding. That's the first thing. Before we can start hoping and praying for negatives to come back and get some of these guys back into the mix, we got to stop the positives first, right? So that's where my focus is like, let's stop the positives so we can get to some negatives. That's where I'm at with mine. So if tomorrow is a day where no one else is added to that list, okay, now we're going in the right direction. And if Friday is the same, great. Now after Friday, that's when you start saying, can I get a couple of negatives? Can I get a Saturday negative? Can I get a Sunday negative? Can I get a guy playing? That's where we start to get our hopes up. Can we get a Friday and a Saturday negative and get a guy ready to make the trip to Philly on Sunday? That's the question you have to ask yourself. But we got to stop the COVID bleeding first. So, yeah, we got it pretty bad, man. Pretty bad. Luck. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Luck writes, I'm 280 and out of shape, but I want a Hurts. He said, but I want Hurts. Put me on the D-line. I got y'all. I think that's the problem with most of us is we're out of shape. Like, I feel like I could get out there and give them something, but I'm out of shape. Like, there's being fit, and then there's being in shape. If you're fit, you look the part. But if I run up and down, 10 yards, I'm going to be dying. I don't do any cardio. My cardio used to be going out and playing ball and hooping. I don't do that anymore. So I don't get any cardio. So right now, I'd be able to give you 2, maybe 3 plays straight, and then I'm tapping out. I'm done. Come get me. And you may have to stop play to get me because I can't make it back to the sidelines depending on how deep of a route you got me running. So I think that's most of us. Like, hey, I can give you a few snaps, but I'm not in the best of shape. You're 280, honestly, you might be like the 3rd biggest D lineman we have right now. Because, well, Wise is a big dude. I don't know about Hercules Mataafa. But, yeah, anyway. We'll see. Door Gunner, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Door Gunner writes, what up, Lou? What's up, Door Gunner? I might win the kicking job this week. Well, hey, wait a minute. Don't start wishing ill will or anything crazy on our kicking situation. It's bad enough we're already on our 4th kicker. We don't need any more issues there. He doesn't have COVID. Knock on a little bit of wood. So we'll see what happens. We don't need any kickers right now. Just D linemen, a couple of corners would be nice. Maybe a receiver or 2, but we're pretty deep at receiver. We're still good. If this is the thing, I was thinking about this as Cam Sims hit the list. I said, well, we're going to find out about some of these young boys. Yeah, we got Adam Humphries. Yeah, DeAndre Carter. These are guys that we've counted on in the past this year, but this could be a Dax Milne, De'Ami Brown type game where those dudes are going to have to step up big time. So, this is why you drafted these young fellas. They're going to get some reps. We'll see what they do with them. But that's one thing Ron said is like, look, a lot of these young guys are going to have to play. We'll see how they do. Some of these young boys, they're not going to be here for the long haul. So you're not really interested in seeing how they handle themselves. But I am concerned. I am interested, invested in how De'Ami Brown handles himself, how Dax Milne handles himself. These are guys that are here for the long haul, that we will be looking to be contributors moving forward. How does Sam Cosmi hold up if he's back in the lineup? Can he stay healthy for the first time in a long time? So a lot of questions, not a ton of answers, but we may see some of these young boys out there getting some run. More John Bates, okay? He'll be TE2 for this game. So we'll see. The Great Watubi, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. The Great Watubi writes, first of all, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, writes, I am old and out of shape, but I played offensive tackle in college. Lou, can you give Ron a call for me? Look, man, they can use all the bodies that they can assemble and acquire right now. So, again, I think all of us feel like we're a little bit out of shape, probably too damn old to be out there. But if they need us, we can show up in mass and try to help the squad out any way we can. So right now, that injury list coupled with the COVID list, it's up around 30 dudes. Seriously. Like, they showed pictures of practice today. It was as sparse a crowd as I've seen in quite some time. So they may even need a few of us to get out there just to get through practice, man. I mean, literally, it was sad. They only had 2 tight ends at practice today. Ricky Seals-Jones and John Bates. Like, they could use a couple of tight ends just to help them get through practice. So I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Billy A, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Billy A writes, why the F is Cam Sims not getting PT/targets? It's Terry by himself. Also disappointed in Scott. We have 3 wide receiver / running back hybrids and hasn't done anything too creative. Yeah, and I'm assuming the 3 guys you're talking about, Antonio Gibson, Curtis Samuel, and DeAndre Carter, are those guys that you're probably referencing. I thought we would have seen more creativity out of them with in regards to Curtis Samuel and DeAndre Carter. Not necessarily Carter, even though I felt like they kept Carter, one, because of his special teams prowess, kickoffs, punt returns, things of that nature. I also thought they kept him because if anything were to happen to Curtis Samuel, he could give them what Curtis Samuel, obviously not to the extent of what Curtis Samuel could give them, but it wouldn't be just we don't have that. That part of the playbook is now out of bounds. Like, we can't even tap into that because we don't have a guy that has that same kind of skill set. Felt like DeAndre Carter gave them a similar skill set. So I expected them to do more things, and they just haven't. I expected more jet sweeps. I expected more, shovel passes, maybe, a couple of things just to switch it up. Anything. And wide receiver, like the Cowboys do with CeeDee Lamb, put him in the backfield. Like, nothing. We talked about Curtis Samuel, and I get it. They're trying to work him back, and it's been a long process and all of that good jazz. But I thought we would have seen a little bit more creativity as well. As for Cam Sims, I thought that the injury that he sustained early in the season really stunted his growth in terms of what they envisioned him being for this team. He had an injury early in the season, and that sidelined him, and then they went in a different direction. But honestly speaking, I think they felt like Cam Sims was cool, but they went out and got Curtis Samuel. You know what Terry is. They went out and got Adam Humphries. They felt like, and De'Ami Brown, they wanted to get him touches early. I just felt like Cam Sims was like a forgotten man. And then De'Ami got injured, and then they kind of just phased him out when he came back. Then you see that Curtis Samuel couldn't be trusted. And then it kind of came back full circle to Cam Sims needing to be a guy that they got the football to. And now here we are. Obviously, it sucks because he's coming off of his best game of the season, and now COVID might have snatched an opportunity for him to build upon the momentum that he started to gain versus Dallas. So it's frustrating, but it's not all Scott Turner. Sometimes it's Taylor Heineke, and I've already said this. When he starts to press, when the scoreboard starts to put a strain on him, he doesn't handle that well. He doesn't handle being down and the offense struggling. He doesn't handle the pressure of, okay, we're getting drubbed and what we're doing isn't working, but we got to stay the course. He doesn't handle that well. And he's forcing balls. I saw a clip, and obviously we don't know what, the receiver that didn't get the football, what read he is in the progression. He was working the other side of the field. Terry's wide open, this, that, and the third. But in what universe is it okay to throw into quadruple coverage? I mean, that's the kind of stuff that just boggles the mind. But I saw him do it against New Orleans. I saw him throw a stupid pick from, down by his own end zone against New Orleans twice in that game. You know, I saw him do some stupid things against Buffalo in that game when we got down big. I saw him do some dumb things against Kansas City in that game when he started to press. And we saw it again on Sunday. So, you know, there could be opportunities where guys are open, like a Cam Sims, and he just doesn't see him or he doesn't get it to him. But Cam Sims has been coming on. He had the touchdown grab against Carolina. You know, he had the touchdown grab against Dallas. He's been coming on of late. So we'll see what happens, you know, when he gets back. Hopefully he gets a couple of false, you know, negatives, or it was a false positive, and he'll be back in the mix. But I won't hold my breath. Neither should you. See if that's the last super chat. Got one here from Lorenzo Simpson. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Zoe. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, hey, I had 8 sacks in my flag football season. Put me in, coach. Hashtag fans stepping up, LOL. Look, man, if you can get 8 sacks, I don't care what league you're playing in, 2-hand touch, flag. Hey, man, you sound like a guy that we could use right now, man, because you put our whole defensive line together, and I don't think they've got 8 sacks. Take Deron Payne out, and I don't know if they've got 8 sacks for their career on that D-line. Definitely, whether you throw Deron Payne in or not, they don't have 8 sacks on the season, right? So, hey, they could definitely use some juice off the edge, man. If you feel like you got the ability to bend and turn the corner and shorten that edge, I'm all for it, man. Do you have some length, Zoe? You know, I mean, I can't have you out there at 5'11" trying to turn the corner on some Elvis Dumervil, James Harrison nonsense. We can't have that. But if you 6'3", 6'4", man, got some vines for arms, I'm all for it, man. 8 sacks sounds good to me. I don't give a shit that it was flag. We need it. Thank you for the super chat, Lorenzo Simpson. K80 Tick, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, wonder if we see the fullback we signed. It's possible. They signed the fullback that Ron had in Carolina that they drafted a few years ago. His name escapes me. Matter of fact, I'm going to look him up real quick because it'll keep boggling my mind if I don't look him up. Alex Arma, that's his name. Alex Arma is who they signed about a week ago or so, 2 weeks ago maybe. And it's possible. I mean, I think I just out of the fact that we only have 2 healthy tight ends might be just enough to bring up Alex Arma just in case you just trying to block. You know what I'm saying? Even if, because we're in a position where if anybody goes down in a couple of positions, we're screwed. The tight end's one of them. So I would assume just off the strength of us being so light, and we need dudes to play special teams. I mean, we think about COVID from the standpoint of starters and reserve guys and depth at positions offensively, defensively. But a lot of y'all don't take into consideration what these injuries and what COVID is doing to our special teams unit. Like, you're getting key core special, like Troy Apke. Trap is one of the best special teams. We've talked about it. We had this conversation back in the summer when he made the team. So I don't need to go down that road again. You know the value he brings on specials. He's not going to be there. You add in, we already are down Jordan K. He was out last week with the hamstring. He's probably going to be out this week. And you look at that list of guys, Sammy Reyes is a core special teamer. He's not going to be available if he didn't have some negative tests here shortly. You just go down the list of guys and you see how many of these guys are core special teamers. That unit is being weakened as well. Derek Forrest is a core special teamer at the safety position. He's on the COVID list. So, again, we're being stretched at multiple, areas, not just offense and defense, on special teams too. So I think just off the strength of that, you're going to see a guy like Alex Arma more likely than not activated, because not only may we you need him on offense, we may need him for special teams as well. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him this week. Condo P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, and thank you for being, the housekeeper of the Louie T Network. Greatly appreciate you. My girl Condo P writes, equally distressing is that we won't have a good number of our special teams. Look at that. Condo P, almost like we had, that same wavelength going, that synchronicity was just there, because I literally just talked about that. And here Condo P is talking about how our special teams unit is being weakened. So it bears mentioning that all of these injuries are truly impacting not just offense and defense, but special teams as well. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw something, I'm gonna knock on some wood here, because our special teams has been lights out in terms of the return, the kick coverages, punts, kickoffs. We haven't had any snafus. No one's even come close, remotely close to returning anything. That could change on Sunday. You never know. Remember, was it this year in the preseason, or was it last year, where we gave up like 2 or 3 kick turns for touchdowns, and we were all worried, and it turned out to be nothing. But that was because we were playing a bunch of guys that weren't going to be here on special teams. That's what the game could look like on Sunday. Keep that in mind. When we were giving up all those returns in the preseason and we were pissed off, it couldn't have been last year because there was no preseason last year. So it had to be this year. And we were all pissed off. We kept giving up these massive returns. And, they said, hey, don't worry about it. Most of these guys aren't even going to be here. Well, these guys are here now. Some shit could happen. We'll see. Hopefully, nothing happens and we can just keep it pushing. But you know what it is. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Fat American writes, nah, I was the original put me in coach. Told you, Lou. You talked about it a while back, man. I never thought we would be here. Never in my wildest dreams. Again, just a week ago, I was talking cold, hard cash. Oh, my stars. Fast forward a week, and now I'm like, can somebody wake me up? If I'm dreaming, just leave me asleep. Don't wake me up till my dream is complete. No, wake my ass up. This dream is over. But I ain't dreaming. Don't pinch me. I'm already awake. This shit is just a nightmare. Tony P 56. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Tony P writes, so you're telling me we played Sunday, test positive for COVID Monday, half our team is positive for COVID Wednesday, and only Dallas wide receiver Ced Wilson is positive right now? Sounds like false positive, asymptomatic BS. So again, I don't know, and none of us know, right, when these players, if they have COVID, contracted it. There's a window from the end of the game Sunday. So that game was over at 4:30 so you leave the stadium maybe an hour and a half after that, from 6 Sunday p.m. to where we are now. Anything could have transpired, right? They could have already had COVID, and we know they could have had COVID from the Friday before. Everything shows up negative, and then COVID decides to rear its ugly head 5-6 days later. We know it can go dormant and then appear. So you're right. I mean, we don't know. That's the thing. And that's why I don't want to make any assumptions. I'm not saying, hey, why isn't Dallas having more, positive? They played against us on Sunday. Again, you're less likely to transmit it outside, but you're in close contact with guys. I don't know. I'm not going to play that game We'll see what happens. I'm not wishing any ill will on Dallas. You know, it is what it is. I don't care about Dallas. I'm worried about us. Dallas could have the same issues we're having. They playing the Giants this week. The Giants stink. They probably still win. Lorenzo Simpson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Zoe writes, 6'2", 260. Tell Ron I got film. Take a gamble on me. Oh, I'm with it. 6'2", 260. We can do something with that. Yeah. Send them your huddle. Send them a few clips. Let them see what you're working with. And I think we can get you out there, man. We can do something with 6'2", 260. Definitely can do something with 6'2", 260. So, yeah, get Ron your huddle, man. Let's see what you got. Chill, dude. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, chilled dude. Who writes, this is what Washington football team fans used to. Just a normal year. Yeah, this is, I mean, earlier today on the show, I said, you know, why am I a fan of this team again? These are the times where I have to remind myself of why this is my favorite team. Because this is torture. You know, and I was talking to so many fans last week who said, I want to believe, but I've been here before and I can't let my guard down because I know the other shoe is about to drop. I don't know how, I don't know when, but it's coming and I won't fall for the banana in the tailpipe again. That's how bad we've got it as a fan base. You've got it bad. When you're waiting on some shit to happen, even though good things are happening, even though there's all good vibes, you're waiting for something bad to happen because that's what always happens. Disaster is always right around the corner when it comes to the Washington football team. You can never feel safe and secure. It's always right around the corner. Here we are again. Unbelievable. So yes, as fans, I'm not saying we're like used to this because just like cold weather, you never get used to it. I ask people that are from Minnesota, and I've talked to someone that's from Alaska, and I'm like, oh, you must be used to the cold. He's like, no. You don't ever get used to that kind of cold, period. You don't ever get used to this type of dysfunction because this is not normal. This is not what we want. You get to a point where you are expecting something to happen, but even when it does happen, you're still disappointed. The Phillies Ace 34. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. The Phillies Ace 34 writes, hey, Louie, what's good? What's going on with you? The Phillies Ace says, how are the kids? Doing well. Thanks for asking. Fly, Eagles, fly. I hope we don't lay an egg like we did against the Giants, but you're the man, my friend. Go Eagles. That's the only thing we can hope for, is that we get a lackluster performance. You turn it over 3 or 4 times, and somehow we look up late in the fourth quarter, you know, with 3 minutes and 47 seconds left. It's a 1-score ball game, whether we're up or down. I'll take it. I mean, with the situation that we find ourselves in right now, all we can ask for is to have a chance late in the game, whether we're up or down. I mean, obviously you would prefer to be up, but that's of no consequence right now. You don't want to get your ass kicked. You know, I always say, just give me a chance in the fourth quarter, just like against Dallas. It seemed like the odds were stacked against us. We were getting dominated. You know, they had taken Zeke out of the game. And somehow with 5 minutes left, we had the football down 7 with a chance. That's all you can ask for, really, in any game. It's just a chance. That's all I'm asking for on Sunday. I'm hoping you guys, you know, it's funny. Me and my dad, we talk about this all the time. In sports, You see this more so in basketball than any other sport, but in sports, when a team is shorthanded, a lot of their best players are out. Often you see the opposition let their guard down because they're thinking to themselves, there's no way this team is going to beat us without A, B, C, or D. No way. And that's when that other team comes out. And again, you see it in basketball. The Nets don't have KD, no James Harden. Oh, we should smoke them. And then the reserves come in, they play their asses off, and you end up losing the game by 8. And you're like, how in the hell did they lose to the James Harden-less, KD-less Brooklyn Nets? Because they thought it was going to be a cakewalk. They thought the Nets were going to just show up and lay down. And that's not what happened. You know, and you see it all the time. A lot of times you see it in basketball, but I've seen it happen in football. Me and my dad talk about that all the time. I don't think the Eagles are going to take us lightly. I don't think if the Eagles play the kind of football that they're capable of playing, it should be a close game because the Eagles have played some really terrible games this season. But if the Eagles play their best brand of football, they'll start off slow because even in the games that they've dominated this season, they've started off slow. The Detroit game, they started off a little slow. The Eagles, Falcons game, they started off a little slow. But ultimately, they end up kicking those teams' ass. And that's what ultimately could happen to us if we're not careful. We'll see what happens. The Phillies ace 34. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. The Phillies ace 34, who writes, just become an Eagles Phillies fan with me. You're too good of a person to possibly deal with the circumstances. I'm always here for you. A Sanders jersey. So, number one, my team just won, the division for the 4th straight year and just won a World Series in baseball. Why would I want to become a Phillies fan? Okay, that's number one. Number two, I can't, even if I wanted to, which I don't, which sometimes I question myself as to why I don't. But even if I wanted to, I couldn't. My veins only pump burgundy and gold blood. Sorry, not sorry. So you could slit my wrist, it bleed burgundy and gold. And so I don't know what to tell you, man, other than I ain't going nowhere. I'm a long-suffering fan. I'll continue to be that till the day I'm no longer here. And hopefully I'll pass some suffering down to my kids. And maybe one day they'll actually get to the promised land, even if I'm not here to see it. Sort of like Dr. Martin Luther King said, look, I may not be there when y'all get there, but y'all will get to the promised land. Even though I probably won't be there to see it when y'all get there, I know y'all gonna get there one day. I've got to feel some kind of confidence and pass that down to my kids. So even if that's me telling myself, bro, it ain't happening in your lifetime, maybe it'll happen in theirs. That's what I got to tell myself. Then I will continue to live a lie to keep going strong for the tribe. So thank you, but no thank you. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American, double up, thank you for doubling up. Right? Hey, our situation sucks, but we're in this nightmare together, guys. Been a fun time with y'all. Lou, appreciate keeping me even keeled, man. So weak quarterback draft class. Can we upgrade defense next year's draft? I mean, you can upgrade a number of positions, not just quarterback, not just, wherever you feel like we need to upgrade. That's the beauty of every offseason, is that you take a look at your roster, you take a look at strengths, weaknesses. There's nothing wrong with building upon a strength. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you've got enough guys doesn't mean you can't add another guy, because you can't pay everybody, right? So I've always been in the mindset of taking the best player available. When you start reaching for needs, that's how you get into trouble. I don't think Jamin Davis was a bad pick, but that was a pick where we reached for a need instead of taking the best player available. Now, who was the best player available at number 19 at the time of our pick? I don't know. I can't remember who was still available. But Jamin Davis wasn't the 19th best player in this draft. I can assure you of that. But, did we need the players that were available that I thought could help? Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, I said all of that to say this. I just want them to make smarter decisions and base their draft picks off of talent and what the board says to them versus what our roster says to them. Yeah, we need a free safety. Don't go reaching for 2 rounds too soon. Because I felt like linebacker-wise, we could have come away with a quality linebacker in the second round where we got Cosme, but we wouldn't have been able to get Cosme, and I think that was more of a pressing need to get Cosme, especially if they knew, what they were going to do, which was release Morgan Moses. And they didn't know they were going to get Charles Leno, which is why they were able to release Morgan Moses. They didn't know they were going to get Charles Leno. That fell into their lap. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of things that we need to do in the offseason. And we don't know who all is going to be back. I mean, there are going to be some guys that have their contracts expire, i.e. J.D. McKissick. This is the last year of his deal. Are they going to re-up on J.D.? I don't think they will, to be honest with you. I think they're going to let him walk. So you may need a J.D. McKissick type. How do they feel about Jared Patterson? I don't know. So, I mean, there's a number of guys that signed here on 1-year deals. Bobby McCain is here on a 1-year deal. You know what I'm saying? And we can keep going down the list of guys here on Charles Leno Jr., as I mentioned. I think they like him a lot, and I think they want him back. He's on a 1-year deal. Brandon Sheriff on his second straight franchise tag. Like, there are positions that could end up being glaring needs once we get to the end of the season. So, we'll see. I said all of that to say this. There are other positions other than quarterback and, the defensive side of the football. There are other positions that we can upgrade, and we'll be able to kind of take a hard, long look at all that stuff, as we get deeper into the offseason. Tony P. 56. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Tony P. 56, who writes, Taylor better not that Heineke seltzer BS Sunday. Look, man, I mean, at this point, after and that wasn't the first time we saw Taylor perform like that. So nothing surprises me anymore. But you know what that was. That was a confluence of no run game, Dallas being dominant up front, Michael Parsons being unblockable, and let's call a spade a spade. Our offensive line was putrid in the game. And Antonio Gibson is an extension of the offensive line when he's a pass protector. He was awful in the game. We were terrible in protecting Heineke. Heineke didn't do himself nor the offensive line any favors with his play. But I don't think Scott Turner did anybody any favors with his play calling. I thought it was a collective effort. It wasn't just Heineke. There's a lot of bad going on in the game on Sunday. And again, got to credit Dallas for forcing the issue. They were just that damn good as well. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, so is that your new COVID black clothing line, Lou? No. Normally, I would have taken off some portion of the black. We're already at Wednesday, so you start to heal after the loss. But the news has been so depressing that it just calls for more black. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow I'll shed some portion of this black ensemble. But right now, it's only fitting that everything is black. So I'm looking to get out of some of this tomorrow. Not everything, obviously, but some of it. Tony P. 56, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Tony P. 56 writes, still laughing at your move-in furniture rant Sunday. Yeah, that was pretty funny. And I would love to have laughed more, but it was at our expense. So I would like to be the one moving in furniture and disrespecting someone's house, not the other way around. But look, it is what it is. They literally disrespected us. Yeah, it was bad, man. I hate it. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, I think that's the last super chat we have of the night. And it is. So that is going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Washington Football Nightly. All we can ask for is that somehow, some way, the bleeding stop, the COVID-19 bleeding stop for this team. And then we can start to heal. Then we can start to see if we can scab up the COVID-19 injury and cut. And then maybe, just maybe, get some of these guys back. But before we can start looking for negatives, we got to stop getting positives first. So, wow. I asked myself, it was funny. I told you guys this during the game after the game on Sunday on overtime. In the MOBB, my guy Derek B said, when it got to 27-20, and we had the ball, and it was right before the DeAndre Carter drop down the sidelines. Derek B typed, and I think it was in all caps, how in the hell did we get here? Like, we should be getting our brains bashed in, and yet here we are, football in hand, with a chance to tie this game. How did we get here? I feel the exact same way right now. 1 week ago this time, I was talking all kinds of greasy. I mean, lips so greasy, it was enough to fill a whole bucket of Church's chicken. I mean, the talk was just as greasy as it gets. And now a week later, I'm like, our season could be done. It could be over. How did we get here? Amazing. I'm almost speechless, but that's impossible. Anyway, I digress. I've got a couple of super chats to take us home. One here from Nick Caps. Thank you for the super chat, Nick Caps. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, why would a player leave the Green Bay practice squad to play for us, Super Bowl team? Because there's so many reasons. One, you're guaranteed a roster spot. When you're on the Green Bay practice squad, you're not guaranteed anything other than a practice squad check, which is nothing. It's peanuts for football players, that is, of course. Whereas if Washington pulls you off of their practice squad, it's because they're putting you on their active roster. You're getting big boy money now. Okay? You're getting big boy money now. And you're getting a guaranteed check. So, and a guaranteed roster spot. Now, it could be for 1 week, but guess what? You can always go back to Green Bay's practice squad if you get released by Washington. Or you could just hang around with Washington on their practice squad, being that they had you active just a week ago. Who knows? They may need you in a week or two. But there are plenty of advantages to being on someone else's roster versus being a practice squad member elsewhere. So a veteran player will always take an active roster spot over a practice squad spot. Always. Rashid Fry, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Rashid, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Metaphor, Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Writes, our boy Montez. That's how we got here. Maybe. Again, I'm not here to point, the finger at anybody. I don't know where to place the blame. It could have been Montez. Highly unlikely, though, that he is the cause of all of this. I don't think that's the case. Shit happens, man. That's pretty much what I'm chalking it up to. Shit happens. I can tell you this. I've had 2 close encounters with COVID, 2 scares, if you will. And we did everything right. We went right by the COVID-19 book, right? And still almost got it twice. So you can do everything the right way and still get the shit. So I'm not looking to place blame or say this guy is the reason or that person is. It is what it is. Simply put. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T, here on Washington Football Nightly. Let me remind you, even though for some of you, it's hard right now with everything that's going on, let me remind you, I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Washington football team. Hey, look, man. This is going to be quite a week. Tomorrow is going to be a big day, as Thursday often is, for practice purposes. For me, tomorrow more so than anything else for COVID purposes. Like, can we stop the bleeding tomorrow? Can the list not be extended to 21 or 22? Can it just stay static at 18? Then we can see if we can start to pull some names off of that list as we get further into the week. But what we have to first do is stop the bleeding. You can't go do surgery if there's still swelling. You have to calm the swelling first before you can then do surgery and operate. We've got to stop the swelling first. Then we can see if we can do some surgery to this list and bring it down to give us a chance on Sunday. As it stands right now, we're in line for an ass whooping. That's where we're heading right now. We'll see if that changes throughout the course of this week. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave you today. We'll pick up tomorrow, hopefully some pieces that make sense to this puzzle, because right now I'm baffled. I'm staring at a 1,000-piece puzzle. I got a bunch of pieces in my hand and I don't know where they go. So we will come back tomorrow. Ron Rivera will give us more pieces to this puzzle, and maybe we'll be able to get the outline set up, and then we can start filling in some of the pieces inside. But right now, we're in the dark, and it isn't looking good. And we don't have a flashlight, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel right now. Everything's just dark. Sort of like the all black that I'm dressed in the Omen like. So, anyway. Last super chat on the way out. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, Lou, this year has definitely given me a lot more confidence in Ron's plan. He's got these guys playing tough, and I love to see it. That's another reason why you should still feel somewhat optimistic, not necessarily about winning, but just not getting embarrassed on Sunday. Because whomever's out there, they're going to play hard. And it's not like the entire team, knock on wood, is gone. We still got some guys. I just don't know if we have enough guys. So we will see. But one thing's for sure. Ron's going to have those guys prepared. They're going to play hard. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it's enough. Anyway. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. You guys enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Have a good one. God bless, and good night.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the